Good morning, everyone. For this December day-long retreat held by Ajahn Brahm Society, Sri Lanka. So, so now is the time to listen to Dhamma. So let me start with Namo Tassa first. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So hopefully you can hear me at the back. So I'll try my best to keep my voice up. So as you can imagine, though recovering from sickness, these days we experience some viral fevers and all sorts of sort of a flu situations. So please bear with me if I cough every now and then. So when it was announced that I'm participating for this retreat, I was still sick. So I wasn't sure whether I would be able to come and give a Dhamma talk. But I thought maybe I'll be able to. So here I am. And then I thought, okay, what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I thought, talk about being sick. How to deal with sickness a little. I think it's a more appropriate theme for this time because of this sickness situations. So when I think about this, what are the references you see in the suttas regarding sickness? And there's this one particular sutta stands out. There's this one time. Actually, I should give you a little bit of background information first. So there is this Nakula's father and Nakula's mother, and this couple, Nakula's parents, appears in few suttas in the Sutta Pitaka. So Nakula's mother, particularly an attained one, and there are these few important suttas that first uttered by Nakula's mother, or late, and sometimes then approved by Lord Buddha. So on this occasion, it was Nakula's father that was sick. He was bedridden, and then Nakula's mother was giving him a little bit of bun. So sometimes, even at the Buddha's time, there were times actually, Nona give bana to Mahatya. So it's nothing unusual. It's not just Mahatya just give bana to Nona. Nona also give bana to Mahatya as well. Because, whenever it is appropriate, it's a good to remind these things to each other. So Nakula's mother says that even if the body is sick, don't get your mind sick. So that was the brief teaching, and then according to the sutta, he contemplates this. Somehow he recovered from this, and then later goes to see Lord Buddha. He relates the story, and Lord Buddha also approves this teaching of Nakulamatas. So Lord Buddha also repeats the same teaching. Even though the body is sick, don't get the mind sick as well. So, so it's a very important thing, and it's a profound teaching as well. Um, Now, in general, we have listened to lots of Ajahn and Brahm's teachings, and he has spoken about, he has given talks about sickness, how to deal with sickness. So the first thing would be that you don't try to sort of argue with the sickness. Um, these things are normal. We all know that. That's why we are Buddhists. That if we are a human being, if we were born, we are subject to sickness, along with other sort of afflictions, other problems. So when sickness happens, we have to contemplate these things. Um, the first thing would be there's nothing wrong with it, because the problem is that we tend to think we are conditioned to react or fight back, that as if there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. So that sort of attitude has to be cultivated. Now, the sickness happens, and that so you try uh, to to let go that wanting of to push back the sickness. Of course, you do whatever necessary to sort of help the body to heal, but that doesn't mean that you have to sort of uh, have any sort of aversion towards it. It wouldn't help. So, uh, so this is basically the third noble truth practice once again. Now, some sickness happens, and we tend to think that I don't want this sickness because that's a condition. But the first thing we're supposed to do is that sometimes we can practice it as like a little mantra that there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. Or we can tell to ourselves that I give permission. I give permission for this sickness to no to be. I give permission. I give permission. Likewise. So when you uh, uh, relate to sickness like that, that takes away that pain, that mental stress uh, that would add on to the physical discomfort. Of course, the sickness brings you physical discomfort, but if you start to get upset and be stressed out or sort of have aversion towards it, will sort of getting negative towards it, then you add more difficulty to the problem. Now there is this one sutta, Lord Buddha says that physical discomfort, the physical vedana, the dukkha vedana, the pain is like a thorn. it's like a pike, a thorn uh, drove into, let's say, drove into your leg or so. It's painful, and if you are going to get upset and angry about it, that means you add a second thorn, a second pike to the very exact point that physical that the previous one was. Now it's double pain, like two pains there. Now the wise person, the person who understands Lord Buddha's Dhamma, uh, would avoid doing this second one by accepting the first pain, because the first pain is now here with us already. There's nothing you can do much, nothing much you can do about it. You try to be fit and healthy, you are not being careless or anything. But despite all that, here we go again, the sickness is back. So then you keep this attitude, so you don't basically uh, put the second, drive the second, you wouldn't drive the second thorn into the problem. So that is basically what Nakula's mother said to Nakula's father. Even though the body is sick, don't get the mind sick. Don't leave, don't let your mind be sick. So, so first of all, as I said, we need to have that kind of a attitude that there's nothing wrong with sickness, and I am going to accept the fact that now I am sick. So that's a very Buddhist attitude towards sickness, towards sickness. And on top of that, now you start to experience discomfort, bodily pains, uh, fever, like temperature, that's sort of a stuff. In my case, at least, it was like that. So um, now you lie on the bed, try to take some bed rest. Time to time you take the medication, do the steaming and all the other sort of recommendations uh, people do. Uh, and then you are with this discomfort. Now what you can do is that focus on that discomfort. Focus. You try to concentrate. You try to like be with it, be with that kind of discomfort. Now you have this attitude at the background that there's nothing wrong with this. It's just it's just par for the course. If you have a body, what can you expect? Time to time, you get sick. Because of this, there are these pains. So you don't add more pain to that. Just watching the physical pain. If you keep watching, um, you get into the center of that pain, the center of that problem. You can you'll be surprised actually, like how this temperature thing actually, the ways you can experience this temperature. Usually you have fever and you feel like exhausted and little awful. You feel awful. But if you look at these experiences with the mindfulness, you'll start to see um, interesting things, which leads you to be more curious, to understand. It'll teach you. This sickness will teach you uh, about the life, about um, about the loki, the loka dhammas, all these things about the noble truths. So this is a very good opportunity. Now Ajahn Chah says that he hears time to time that monks say, "Oh, I got sick because of that. I couldn't practice." He totally disagrees. If you read his books, you'll see he brings this thing up. He says that was a golden opportunity to practice, and you just lost it, not practicing it. So how would you practice it? Like I just mentioned, so you have this sort of attitude, and that's also you have to monitor. You are kind of watching your mind. Again, your mind tends to sort of slip into that dark sort of a negativity. Then again, you remind yourself that there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. So that needs some yoniso manasikara. That's basically contemplation. Now, there are these two powers in the mind. Lord Buddha says there is this meditation power, the bhavana bala, and there is this paccavekkhana bala, the contemplation power. So now we are using the contemplation power in the mind. So you bring this yoniso manasikara, you use this opportunity, this is such a golden opportunity, because it's very easy to talk about these things. And once you get sick, everything goes right out the window. Back to normal. Normal means like back to this, the way we usually do stuff. But we can change that. We can change that pattern if we start right now. Before we get more sort of serious sicknesses. Basically, we can train ourselves with the flu first, and maybe one day we'll be able to deal with much more graver sickness, because that's inevitable, right? That's the first noble truth. So it's a good opportunity to practice these things, and then Lord Buddha says, "Khanti paramang tapoti." That means patience is the highest practice of uh, removing kilesas. Tapo means you basically burn kilesas. That's the like the meaning, the figurative speech meaning of it. So when the sickness comes, of course, we have to endure. It's not just gritting your teeth and enduring. You need mindfulness as well. If you have mindfulness, then you try to focus, try to be with the sickness, you have the attitude, then the lot of work will be done by the endurance. The endurance it become easy to practice because it is supported by the right view and the mindfulness. Now, sometimes I would say endurance is such an underrated quality among practitioners because it's just endurance. Nothing seems like nothing much we are doing at the moment. Just endure, as if like gritting our teeth and endure. But that's not the case. And as I quoted just now, endurance is the highest practice to get rid of kilesas. So Lord Buddha meant it. So the trick is always you have the mindfulness, you have the right view, like these attitudes. You think according to the Dhamma, according to the Four Noble Truths. That takes away the mental pain. Then it's just a physical thing you have to endure, and you have that clarity, and you can stay with it. You can stay with the that sickness as long as you want. I mean, as long as you have to. So, so the endurance also come into play like that. Um, One time, there's this particular conversation happened with Lord Buddha and this Paribhajaka, some other ascetic, uh, on a certain teaching Lord Buddha mentioned earlier on. We all heard about this saying. It's in Dhammapada. Arogya Parama Labha. So I think I don't have to translate it, but if I translate it, so the health is the highest gain. If I translate it that way, that's a usual translation. But in the Majjhima Nikaya, Magandhya Sutta, if you look it up, you see an interesting conversation between Lord Buddha and this Magandhya ascetic. So uh, this ascetic was happy and he was a little sort of intoxicated, a little about his health. And Lord Buddha somehow, I think this, if I remember it correctly, this Arogya Paramalabha idea was brought up at that conversation. And Lord Buddha says, I didn't say Arogya Paramalabha because in relate to the health, Lord Buddha says. And he further says that Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, you know, the whole existence consists of these five khandhas. If you have five khandhas, how can you possibly claim that you will get arogya, you will get the health? So you are always sick if you have five khandhas. So when he says arogya paramalabha, he really meant, according to the sutta, is that you basically transcend those five khandhas. Once you transcend those five khandhas, like one day you give up all that, become an arahant. That's the true meaning of that saying, Otherwise, before that, there will be always some kind of affliction, some kind of a roga, always. Not just roga of the body, of the rupa, right? I think everyone here knows five khandhas, right? Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. So the body, yes, the body also gets sickness. Not only the body, right? The Vedana, Dukkha Vedana happens. Certain sanyas also very disagreeable sometimes. There are these asubha sanyas, there are these patika sanyas. Patika sanya means you've experienced anger. Asubha sanya means you sometimes experience this disgust, this ugliness and all. And sankhara also, all these thoughts, all these chetanas, all these seemingly unstoppable thinking, mind, sankhara, can be troublesome sometimes. Because of that, sometimes we find ourselves difficult to go to sleep at night. Because of that. Excuse me. So, and the vijnana, what the Lord Buddha says about the vijnana, he gives a simile. It's as if, like, in the morning, in the daytime, in the evening, a person receives 100 steps in the morning, 100 steps in the daytime, 100 steps in the afternoon or the evening. It's as if someone is afflicted by such a calamity, such a bad experience. He basically relates to vijnana, to that experience. Because of the vijnana, you know things, you hear things, you hear sometimes things you want to hear, sometimes you hear things that you don't want to hear. You wish you you did not hear that, something like that. The sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch, and even thoughts. People bothered by thoughts, obsession, sometimes the dark thoughts of depression, sometimes never-ending thoughts. There are these certain names for these mental diseases, right? Why is it we have to experience these things? Because of the vijnana. So Lord Buddha asked, until we have these afflictions of 500, how can we possibly claim that just the bodily health is the paramalava? It's not the case. So Lord Buddha basically clarifies, he basically explains what he really meant by the arogya paramalava. So this five khandhas Lord Buddha talks about in his second discourse in the Anattalakkana Sutta. He says he takes each and every khandha, the rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana, and he says we can't have that may my rupa be like this, may my rupa not be like this, or may my vedana be like this, may my vedana not be like this. Isn't that what we want? You know, we would like to have the sukha vedana. We don't like to have the dukkha vedana. But he says, That's not possible. He says, um, um, the, the truth is that these things happen. And he asked from the Sangha at that time, what do you think? If it is uh, if it is not yours, if it is not in control, can you say that it is yours? No, Venerable Sir. If it is not yours, um, isn't that dukkha? Yes, Venerable Sir. So he brings up this anicca, dukkha, anatta aspect from that contemplation. So when we are sick, or even in a daily situations also, we are all sick in ultimate sense. We are always sick until we attain. So contemplating these things, um, um, you're doing the yonas of manasikara on this is very important. Then it reminds us not to be um, um, to be heedful and not to waste time. And the same thing eventually, once you really get sick, like like sickness, then you will follow the same behavior, the same like the habit of contemplating this thing. Um, this sickness is not mine. I didn't ask this to come, and why should I sort of own this sickness? The body doing its thing, the virus or some other flu or something happened. Yeah, the body got it. As long as I don't own it, I just try to sort of be separate, take a step back and watch. Then, as teachers would say sometimes, the body will be able to heal itself. That's that's sometimes surprisingly true. Now, when sickness happens, why we worry? We want to uh, get our health back soon possible. We are worried about these things. Because of that very worrying attitude, it will make worse. It will make the sickness worse. Now, even in Western medicine, they have recognized this aspect of this mind interfering to the sickness. Now, there's a term called hypochondriac, right? There's a term called hypochondriac. Hypochondriac. Now, you always worry about a certain sickness, and of course, you get it sometimes because of that condition, because you think too much. You eat a certain food and you're not sure whether, or you think that, oh, I might get kind of tummy ache or kind of diarrhea. Of course, you will get diarrhea because the mind interferes. Sometimes, personally, like as a monk, sometimes you are not in control actually what you eat. Nearly every time. And if you go in about it's more sort of can be little. There may be challenging situations every now and then. You're not sometimes you are not so sure about a certain thing, but you take your chances and you eat it anyway, and you don't worry about it too much. And personally, I feel I can digest anything. I have a tough tummy or something like that. Now, if I have that confidence, at least if I don't sort of worry about what I have just ate, that actually helps the digestion to kick in and do its thing. If I start to worry, of course, you see, even within a few minutes, the rumble happens in the tummy, and the rest follows. I know some monks actually experience this thing. Sometimes it leads to vomiting even because of this mental interference with the physicality. Um, um, I used to, as a kid, I used to vomit. The car sickness. I suffered from car sickness a lot. Even sometimes as an adult. But after I ordained, bit by bit, I got it, got over it. Partially because you feel this sickness while you're traveling, and then you look at it, and eventually you take away those like unnecessary wrong thinking towards these sensations the body tells you, because the body is just telling you, the Vedana happens. But if you start to add worries to uh, that sensations, then it will turn into a proper sickness. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Now, um, when I was a kid, I was told that okay, එළියට යන්න එපා, පිනිබානවා, like a little bit of a dew and the morning mist makes you sick. That's what I was told. Or I know a lot of us was told. And yes, so as a monk, one time I remember that I was out and about, and I felt, no hair, so you can directly feel when the pini bapuhama, you can feel it, this because of no hair. So then I could feel there's a little temperature difference over my head. And then the story comes up. Okay, Pini Bava, you're getting these funny feelings. Okay, the next thing is the Henkerisal. Because that's how you were conditioned. Out of love, out of concern for sure, by our parents. But now, if you kind of as an outsider, if you watch someone walk outside and like play outside and exposed to these elements, sometimes you see people get sick. They also observed us and told us, okay, if you're exposed to this, you will get sick. So in that way, we can't say, we can't blame that they were wrong. But we have to be careful. These things are not always happen in the same way. Now, if we break down this thing, first you get these sensations, and instead of getting worried or thinking about this sickness, if you just let the feeling, let the sensation be, oh yeah, just funny feeling, that's it. Well, if you want to get sick, go ahead and do it, it's okay, it's up to you. So that means your mind is present now, you are mindful of these feelings. You are no longer uncontrollably getting into this mental rut of, oh, here we go again, the sickness is coming. If you, if you, if you let that mind go down that path, of course, you will find, you find yourself again in the same path of sickness. But if you maintain the clarity and noticing it's just a feeling, that's all it is, it will stop there. So there are these certain things like um, the tummy problems, this sort of a little exposing to the elements sort of thing. You can observe it very easily. This phenomena. Um, because of that, we have to be careful about this label giving for these things. Giving a label to a sickness is very useful, so we can communicate about this thing. We can share information, but because of that very label, we think too much and might get into the same uh, thing because of there is such a thing, such a label there. So, so there is this subtle, like a middle way in this. We don't deny that there are no sickness, but on the other hand, we take our chances. We just observe what's going on. We are not kind of giving to these labels. That should be the correct attitude. Then something comes up. Okay, you ate something little off, but you don't have to get into a diarrhea. Just okay, I'll let the tummy handle it, and then you find yourself like, you know, no problem. If you think too much, you'll go down that hypochondriac side, that path. There's another term. What is it? Psychosomatic. Remember? There's another term. Psychosomatic diseases induced by the psyche. So these are very important, like very interesting terms. They are there. Even Western medicine recognizes this. And you see the positive side of the same phenomena in the placebo effect. We heard about that too, right? So a certain medicine has to be uh, tried first. They do trials. So when they do trials, what they do, like they have the actual medication, and they have this some sugar pills also. Appears the same weight, same size, same shape, same color. Just sugar or something unharmful, not something neutral. Both pills are given, and you see there are these certain people actually get better because of this placebo, because of this neutral pill, because this this positive side of the mental intervention, that okay, I took the medication, I will get better. So people notice this thing. This is an observation, but they say it's about 6 or 8% from the population, from that group you would see this placebo effect. Otherwise, you could have given all the people with the same this placebo instead of the real medication. But you see, there is this factor of this interference of the mind. It is taken into account even in the medical trials. It's a very well known thing. So when we face into the sickness, it's very important to notice this. So the sickness happens. We try to come to terms with it. We, as Nakula's mother said, we try to uh, get the mind separated from the body. The mind is sick. I'm sorry, the body is sick, but the mind is not sick. Mind is just observing. Because of that very act, the body has that capability to heal itself. Because if you look at it, actually, there are so many mechanisms and so many things, even from the Eastern medicine or even in the Western medicine. If you look at how the immune system works, it's just mind-boggling, right? There's so many cells and so many like seems like independent organism living in our body to 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 help to keep the body away from the pathogens. Um, so you basically you try to cultivate that attitude. You accept the sickness as it is. Sometimes you get the feeling, get the fever, get these difficulties. Sometimes what I used to do is that I allow the body, okay, body, if you want to get temperature, get as much as you want, as high as you want. Let's see this time how much I'm going to get the temperature, how high I get. The point being that you take away that expectation that okay, I don't want this to happen. You can go the opposite side of it. So there are these small things we can do in terms of contemplation. If I summarize it before I finish this talk today, that um, the idea is that you separate from the physicality from the mentality. That is possible. The first thing is the attitude that there's nothing wrong with this sickness, it's totally normal. Um, and once you contemplate in that fashion, then you can focus on the bodily experience, the bodily sensations, the Vedana and all, and you maintain that attitude, you accept it and let it be. So this being, that act of letting them be needs that endurance also. But you are not just using brute force, you are mindful, you are powered by the right view, then you start to see more and more about this sickness. What is this thing? What is this fever after all? Like we start to do walking meditation, then we start to realize, okay, what is this process of walking? Because we've been walking in our entire lives, but we never noticed actually how this walking really happened. It was just some experience we took for granted. Same with the sickness. You start to see what the fever is. You start to see what this Vedana is. Once you in, you start to see මේ හිතපු තරම් මේ යකා කළු නෑ නේද? You say in Sinhala, it's not that bad after all sometimes. It's bearable. It's not, you don't have to be that desperate if you have mindfulness. So that's a very good opportunity for us to learn. It's such a beautiful moment that these things teach us. So as Buddhists, we shouldn't lose that opportunity. It's a good opportunity for us to learn about the sickness. And finally, the sickness According to Lord Buddha, it's not just physicality. The whole five khandha business is sickness, because the whole five khandhas is afflicted. It is dukkha, it is anicca, it is anatta. So it is afflicted, it is problematic. So he lays down a more kind of a bigger picture, what we're supposed to do as Buddhists. So we have to, we can use these tools, and as I said, these labels, and be careful, because otherwise we know too much about the labels, and in no long time, unnecessarily, even before the body goes into the sickness, we sort of drag our body to that situation because of overthinking about that label. That also happens. So we have to be careful about it. That's why Nakula's mother told to Nakula's father that be careful. Your mind doesn't have to be sick, even though your body is sick. So I would like to share these thoughts on sickness, dealing with sickness today. I hope it was helpful, and so I wish you all healthy and happy life, and finally to be healthy from five khandhas as well one day, and liberate and understand Four Noble Truths. So everyone's alive.